guys, Nary here from Drakewing Gaming. Submitting me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Temptation's Ballad. So, looks like Cole has been charmed a little bit. Oh boy, I can't wait to see how this turns out. But anyway, guys, please sit back and enjoy for the next 18 minutes while I entertain you. And let's jump right in. Alarm changer up, and let's go. Okay. Alrighty. You should really stop messing with that cloaked fellow over there. Stop being so troublesome. Huh? Is this some sort of mind control spell? Artemi glanced around, panic rising. The rest of the crowd began picking themselves off the ground, clutching their heads and muttering incoherently. Sure enough, everyone's eyes contained the same sinister red glow. Interesting. To have resisted my spells so easily. You truly are the creator's chosen. It is best that I finish my business quickly. The cloaked figure pointed a commanding finger towards Val at the center of the fighting ring. You. Bring me the rest of the rupees. Uh-oh. From within the fighting ring, Sid groaned and clutched his head in pain. His thoughts swam like a whirlpool of dread. It was becoming difficult to focus or stay conscious. Something was weaving into the inside of his skull. Huh? What was he doing again? It doesn't matter. That person in the brown cloak, you should probably listen to whatever they say. They seem to know what's going on. Sid's groans of pain faded as he stumbled onto his feet at a drunken pace. Beside him, Val was in a similar state as he stood up with unsteady feet. This spell always makes them so slow and brainless. Though I suppose this isn't much of a downgrade for you peasants. You, the crocodile. Hurry up and bring me the rubies. As you command. Here's the ruby you seek. Val reached into his pocket and pulled out a large, glistening ruby. Like a zombie, he slowly bumbled across the fighting ring towards the cloaked figure. As Val approached, the cloaked figure immediately snatched the ruby out of the crocodile's hand. This is it? Where are the rest of them? One was lost, another was bought by an unknown noble. Wait, you've lost them? The figure's voice hissed with irked fury. You peasants are utterly useless. Do you have any idea what these rubies contain? What am I saying? Of course you don't. Figures shook their head in disbelief. In any case, I suppose 2 out of 4 will suffice. What? Figure reached out to grab the remaining ruby on the bidding table. Their fingers slipped through a gem like smoke as the ruby disappeared into wisps of magic. A minor illusion. That boy! That little hyena must have stolen it off the table and switched it with an illusion when nobody was looking. The cloaked figure whipped their head towards the other side of the room in utter fury. They pointed a shaking finger at Cole. You lying son of a bitch! Hand me the other ruby! Across the room, Cole groaned mindlessly as he thumbed through his pockets. After a moment, he pulled out the ruby that had been previously pickpocketed from the table while Val wasn't looking. The hyena mumbled drunkenly and stumbled across the room. Here's that ruby I stole. Dispel magic! A powerful jolt of static electricity suddenly coursed through Cole's veins and snapped him awake. He jumped backward, hair standing on end. Ow! That fucking hurt! Huh? What's happening? Why is everyone's eyes all red and glowy? Cole clutched his head and glanced around the room in confusion, as though he had just woken from a deep sleep. There's no time to explain! Prepare yourself, Sir Cole! The cloaked figure took a step back in surprise. What is the meaning of this? A bolt of lightning ripped through the air and struck the bidding table, narrowly missing the figure by an inch. The cloaked figure whirled around to see where the lightning came from. Artemi reared back and readied another crackling, guiding bolt in her hand, her eyes deadly serious. Under your control over these people of this establishment, surrender immediately! Let me assure you, my next attack won't miss. The cloaked figure stared at the rumbling lightning, javelin in Artemi's hand, and laughed softly. Silly girl, you think me a fool? They snapped their fingers. Suddenly, Val, along with dozens of people from the audience, stumbled forward and surrounded the figure in a shield of bodies. Artemi growled and lowered her hand. You despicable little... To use bystanders in such a vile fashion! What's wrong, O Chosen One? Didn't you say you were to strike me down? I'm certain the church wouldn't mind if you fried a few not-so-innocent civilians in the crossfire. Do not mock me, scoundrel! Dispel magic! Huh? pressure spell! Artemi flinched and fell back as her magic was interrupted. It felt as though someone had drenched her to the bone with ice-cold water. You okay, Nighty? I am fine, though it appears spellcasting won't be very effective against this foe. The mind-controlled crowd began to advance towards the two of them, arms outstretched and growling viciously. Val and Sid were among the controlled. The two large fighters leapt over the fighting ring fence and joined the crowd in their threatening approach. You can make this easier for everyone involved. Hand over the ruby and I will happily release all these captives. What do you say, little chosen one? Artemi growled and raised her shield. She couldn't draw her sword against these civilians. They were being manipulated. It would not be right to strike them down, even in self-defense. Artemi felt Cole cower behind her, gripping her shoulder anxiously. He does not appear to be very effective in direct combat. Defending him in the midst of a fight will prove difficult. The odds of this situation were simply not in their favor. Sir Cole! Huh? Hey, what are you doing? Get your hands off me a little... Artemi quickly holstered her shield and grabbed Cole, hoisting the smaller man over her shoulder. Hold on! Oh god! She just fucking picks him up and takes off. With Cole in tow, Artemi made a mad dash through the crowd. Barreling over several people, she charged across the room. Before the cloaked figure could issue any commands, the two of them had already disappeared down the back hallways. What? How did an entire crowd of you fail to catch two measly idiots? The cloaked figure jabbed their finger toward the hallway. Catch them and bring me the ruby! On your heads be the consequences should you fail! Everyone in the fight ring murmured in a daze and followed the cloaked figure's directions. Their eyes retained the sinister red glow of the figure's control. As you command. Will do! Oh my, that's not good. Artemi and Cole skid to a stop as the sound of the angry crowd echoed through the narrow hallway. All those mind-controlled people will reach them soon. Sir Cole, you're familiar with the layout of this building, yes? What is the best place to hide and formulate a plan? Well, let me down and maybe I'll tell you. Oof! Ah, my apologies. I'm afraid I'm rather anxious at the moment. Cole picked himself off the floor with an indignant scoff. We can't just hide in a random room. Those folks will probably be searching through every nook and cranny. We'll be found out eventually. Here, move aside. Cole raised his hands, sparks of illusory magic flickering between his fingertips. Prestidigitation! All the candles in the hallway are immediately snuffed out. It was so dark Artemi could scarcely see her own hand in front of her face. Confused shouting and yells reverberated through the dim hallway along with the sound of angry men stumbling into each other. Ah, I understand. This is an excellent plan, Sir Cole. Not yet. Minor illusion. The door to Clyde's office instantly disappeared in wisps of magic, leaving behind a solid stone wall. Incredible! My education at the church never covered illusion magic. I never thought it could be so versatile. It should keep them busy for a while. Those guys aren't very smart when they're being controlled. Come on, let's head inside. Artemi and Cole let out sighs of relief as the door to Clyde's office snapped shut behind them. And not a moment too soon. Heavy footsteps flooded the hallway as the mind control caught up to them. Where did they go? I can't see a damn thing. They must be hiding in one of the rooms. Search them! This was met with monotone hollers of agreement. Cole and Artemi pressed their bodies against their door in anticipation of a forced entry, but no one came. The crowd had ran into all the rooms except theirs, thanks to Cole's illusion magic. Ooh, it appears we have them fooled for now. Are you alright, Sir Cole? Cole scoffed. Does it look like I'm alright? I blacked out for a moment during Sid's fight with Val, then I get zapped awake. And then I find an angry, mind-controlled crowd chasing me. What's the big deal? What's the big idea? Well, they wouldn't be chasing you if you hadn't attempted to steal that ruby from Val's nose with your illusion magic. I wasn't going to take any chances. As Papa always says, we don't fight fair, we fight to win. That is dubious advice, to say the least. Cole pulled the large, triangular ruby out of his pocket and waved it smugly in Artemi's face. If I hadn't stolen this, that hooded fellow would have succeeded in whatever horrible thing they were planning to do here. I'd say this was a pretty smooth move on my part. Cole squinted at the office door. Who was that hooded fella, anyway? You got any ideas? Artemi shook her head dejectedly. I haven't a clue. It is clear that they are after the rubies from the prince's crown, and that they are a powerful mage. Defeating them will prove difficult, especially when they have everyone in the fighting ring under their control. I hope to retreat and buy ourselves some time to formulate a plan. Artemi sighed and hung her head dejectedly. I am ashamed to say I was unable to free Sir Sid from that mage's control before we escaped. May the Creator keep him safe while we sort things out. Hey, at least he got me to safety. It could have been a lot worse. A low groan suddenly reverberated from the back of the office. Yep, that's right. Clyde is still in there. Someone had stood up from behind the couch, clutching their head in a daze. This feels worse than my hangover from last week. Oh, yeah. Holy hell. Yep, gonna have to edit that out. What happened? Artemi shrieked and covered her eyes. Oh, that's great. It's gonna draw attention. Sir Clyde, please make yourself decent. Huh? What are you folks doing in my office? Cole rolled his eyes and patted a horrified Artemi's shoulders. Cover up your bits, Clyde. I know you like being nude when I'm around, but keep it in your pants when we have company. Huh? Clyde blinked blankly, his wit slowly returning. Oh. Right, I guess clothes are a good idea. Hurry up, please! That was great. A few minutes later, after Clyde struggled to put on his loincloth, the three of them huddled around the office desk to discuss the current situation. Artemi stood a considerable distance away from the couch as she explained to Clyde about the cloaked mage's actions. The tiger listened and massaged his temples in disbelief. All this happened while I was out? Jeez, I don't remember anything after leaving the fighting ring to check on my office. Yeah. And that mage must have charmed you and stolen the crown while you were out. You gotta be more careful, Clyde. Artemi shot Cole a confused glance. But I thought you said... Ouch! The hyena kicked her from under the table with a will you shut the fuck up look on his face. Artemi just looked even more confused. Meanwhile, Clyde was too busy musing his own thoughts to notice their little exchange. I didn't think anyone had the guts to cause trouble in my fighting ring. This is one strong mage we're dealing with. Not to mention dangerous. Clyde scratched his chin thoughtfully. I'm afraid I won't be very useful in the fighting department, unfortunately. Huh? But you're the leader of a fighting ring, are you not? Yeah, but I'm more of a businessman and behind-the-scenes sort of guy. This whole fighter outfit is just for show. I actually used to be a blacksmith by trade until... Clyde glanced at Cole out of the corner of his eye and sighed. Anyway, back on topic. If I understand the situation correctly, our next best course of action should be to figure out a way to free everyone from this mage's spell. That will prove to be quite difficult. We cannot confront them head-on since the mage would just force the mind-controlled people to retaliate. Or use them as meat shields. Artemi nodded solemnly. I'm not willing to risk the lives of innocents. It appears that my dispel magic is able to break people free from the mage's hold. However, I cannot cast anything in the mage's presence since they will simply counterspell my attempts. To make matters worse, I can only cast my spells a limited number of times without rest. It would be impossible for me to dispel every mind-controlled person individually. I see. Then our best chance is to land your dispel magic on the mage directly and end the mind control spell at the source. After that, we can just outnumber the mage and kick their ass. Artemi nodded again and scratched her head thoughtfully. The main problem is that the mage will see us coming and counterspell us before we get the chance. She turned towards Cole, who had been fidgeting nervously at the other end of the desk. Sir Cole, you are much more experienced with battle than I am, yes? What would be a viable strategy from your point of view? Cole jerked up from his nervous daze with a scoff. What? Why are you asking me? I'm not dealing with any of this shit. Artemi froze. Excuse me? Cole hopped off his seat and paced around the office with nervous energy. There's a ton of secret exits in this building, right? Let's just run out while we have the chance. After we get away, we can just call the church knights or city watch to take care of this. This isn't my problem. An uncomfortable silence settled across the table as Artemi and Clyde stared at him in surprise. Clyde sighed and closed his eyes. You haven't changed a bit, have you? Artemi slammed her fist into the table and stood up. Her voice hissed furiously through gritted teeth. Absolutely not! We must rescue everyone here, including Sir Sid! It is possible that this cloaked mage will harm the people here to remove witnesses. It is our duty to protect them while we still have the opportunity to do so. Cole averted his gaze from Artemi's intense glare and crossed his arms. Hey, Sid is a nice guy and all, but I'm not going to risk my life for someone I just met. That's not my job. I just agreed helping you to find your missing stuff and maybe earn some gold on the side. Battling a crazy, mind-controlling mage was nowhere on the to-do list. Something snapped in Artemi. She forcefully pulled Cole close by his shoulder strap and almost lifted him off his feet. Her fangs bared inches from his face. Sir Sid believed in you! Wait. Oh, I thought that was a mole on her armor. I'm like, what the fuck? He believed you were a good person, someone worth fighting for. How can you just abandon him? Cole's heart raced painfully against his chest as he leaned back from the furious knight. Artemi's usual polite grin vanished into a feral rage. Well, Sid's kinda a simpleton. He'd probably fight for anyone who gave him the time of day. Artemi's grip on him tightened. He shielded you with his own body during the wagon crash this morning. He was willing to fight countless men in this illegal fighting ring simply because you commanded him so. Did he truly misplace his trust on a shameless coward? Artemi spat the words like them. Sir Sid has a loving mother waiting for him, a family that actually cares. What will you tell them when you leave their son to die? Is this who the son of Marrow Bonebreaker truly is? A heavy, intense silence filled the room, interrupted only by Artemi's fuming growl and Cole's thundering heartbeat. The small hyena swallowed, his shoulders shaking. You sure you want a coward helping you? The fist that kept Cole hoisted in the air suddenly laxed. The hyena dropped to the ground with a yelp. Artemi let out a deep sigh as she stood over him. Her eyes were closed and brow furrowed in her effort to wrestle with her own temper. I know that you are capable of great acts of kindness if you truly wish to do so. Perhaps courage, too. I just don't understand what is stopping you. That familiar hollow feeling engulfed Cole's chest once more as he stared up at Artemi's disappointed eyes. He slowly picked himself off the floor with a sigh. It always came back to disappointing people, didn't it? Clyde gently cleared his throat. Not to kick the little guy while he's down, but things will be difficult even with Cole's help. It's just the three of us against the entirety of the fighting ring crowd. What can we actually do in this kind of situation? Well, quite a bit if you put a little thought into it. Cole sighed and began digging through his pocket. See, Cole's strength is that he is cunning. Not a good fighter, not one bit, but he's great at planning. Use that to his advantage. He pulled out an arcane crystal with a glint in his eye. I think I've got a decent plan to dispel that mage's control. Hey, Nighty, can you do something for me with that magic of yours? Artemi stared at Cole quietly for several moments. Can we count on your help? The anger in her eyes had subsided, leaving only a tired, withering gaze. Even so, Cole felt his chest lurch as they made eye contact. Sure. Artemi sighed. Very well, Cole. Explain your plan. Distract him with Clyde's stick. The hallway was still dark and candleless as the mind-controlled returned from their search. Val, Sid, and a dozen other people from the fighting ring closed the doors to the other rooms with a slam. We've searched all the rooms. These two must have fled elsewhere in the building. Search the secret exits! Val's voice was slow and slurred as he spoke, the mage's mental grasp on him still holding strong. Others in the crowd were no better as they murmured in agreement and stumbled their way out of the hallway. Sid was about to follow them out when a low whisper suddenly flickered through his ear. He whipped his head round, scanning the now empty hallway. Hello? Psst, over here. Sid frowned and approached an empty section of the brick wall where the whisper seemed to originate. Is someone there? Strange. Did he truly hear someone speaking, or were his senses messing with him? Perhaps he should report this to the mage. It's your conscience. Ooh. Come closer to the wall, and I shall show you the truth behind your recent gay thoughts. Huh? Wow, what a place to pause it. Okay, I'm gonna pause it right there. Thank you guys so much for watching. That was silly. Thank you guys so much for watching. What the hell is he, Tom Cruise? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or a tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!